It looks like Apple just canceled one of the new iPhone 18 models, which means things for next year are either going to be really good or really bad. Now hold on a second, I know the iPhone 17 is like just 2 months old, but it should be no surprise that Apple's already working on the iPhone 18, the iPhone 19, the iPhone 20. That is stuff we know, but what we don't know, like what we've never seen before, is Apple make a move like this, which is to cancel a brand new iPhone less than a year before it was supposed to be released. Let me explain kind of the radical new changes we're learning about the 2026 iPhone lineup and kind of break this story down into two parts. First, by giving a big thanks to Charge for sponsoring this video, and part number two, kind of explaining why this actually could be the best news from Apple we could hear right now.
This is, beyond a doubt, the most precise thing, one of the most beautiful things we've ever made.
Okay, I don't mean to sound like an old man, but I just turned 30, so I feel like I can say this, but
back in my day, when Apple was doing iPhone releases,
they were exciting, they were new, they were innovative, they were fresh. It seemed like Apple was really kind of pushing the boundaries every single year, at the very least, every other year. But over the last couple of years, really like the last 10 years, not a whole lot with the iPhone has changed, where in 2025, the big feature is, ooh, orange. Really? Is that what iPhone releases have become? But on the flip side of that, we've started to hear that some things might change, that 2026, unlike the last many years, would be the first time that Apple would really try something new. They would break the mold, break the cycle, and really start to go a little crazy, which would be great. But also that might come with some casualties. For example, we're hearing right now that the iPhone Air version 2 has now been put on an indefinite hold. Basically, for the foreseeable future, this thing is canceled, and we're hearing that Apple has told teams that were working on this thing to stop working on it and go with something else, which this kind of story in and of itself is a big deal for a number of reasons. Number one, we've never seen Apple make a move like this before. This is a pretty big deal in and of itself. Number two is that, remember, we're less than a year away from this thing being released, which means it's pretty far along in the kind of development process for this thing to get axed. It was gonna start limited production likely very soon, and then full-scale production as we got into 2026. So this is kind of a very late stage move for Apple to make, which means a couple of things might be happening. What this could mean is that iPhone Air sales are so poor, so bad, and just, I don't know how else to say it, it's selling so bad that even just 2 months in, Apple can clearly see the writing on the wall, which is there is no need or desire for a version 2. But the flip side to that, maybe something a little bit more optimistic, is that maybe Apple is looking at their roadmap and seeing a lot of the upside and potential with a stronger 2026 lineup. Maybe the folding iPhone we're hearing about and the improvements to the iPhone 18 and 18 Pros, those are going to be more significant and basically so well-rounded and substantial that the iPhone Air just doesn't make sense in the lineup. Maybe this has nothing to do with weak sales or, problems from customers, but it's just the fact that Apple kind of took a look at their lineup and said, we really don't need this thing. We've got enough options to satisfy customers, and this just really isn't needed anymore. We're hearing right now, of course, one of the big stars of the show is going to be this iPhone Fold, that Apple is finally diving into the folding phone market. They're going to be shaking things up and trying things new, and they're going to be going with a folding iPhone for the new year. We're also hearing that Apple is making some big improvements with the general iPhone 18 lineup. We've heard some rumors that the notch could be finally getting smaller, the dynamic island could be shrinking down a bit more. We've heard that Apple could be looking to replace physical buttons with fake tactile buttons. Yes, we're going back to those rumors again of Apple basically faking physical buttons on their phones. We've already heard some talk about new camera upgrades and new colors, selfie camera upgrades, things like that. There seems to be enough moving in the right direction for the iPhone 18 lineup that this might not be all as big of a deal as the headlines might lead you to believe. And maybe what Apple has realized is that they tried the mini phone, they tried the Plus phone, they tried the Air phone, maybe what they just need to do is just go with the Ultra phone. Maybe what people want all along is a higher end, more feature-packed premium phone, and not something kind of in the middle or something lower tier. People just want higher tier, which is what Apple fans say they want, so maybe it's time for them to actually do that. We also can't simply just ignore some of the glaring issues that the iPhone Air had. For example, one rear camera and battery life were two pretty big compromises, if not deal breakers for many. And I should say, if you're a current iPhone Air owner who is suffering from bad battery life, or just you own any iPhone and you're looking to give your battery life a bit of a boost, my friends at Charge have a really innovative and literally cool solution here to help you with your battery life woes. And that is this. It is the brand spanking new Ice Mag 3, here to literally cool down your battery issues and supercharge your iPhone in some really cool ways. For example, this is the world's first Qi 2 25-watt power bank with active cooling built in. Pairing up with the 35-watt charging speeds you can get from the built-in USB-C port, you've got 10,000 milliamp hours of capacity built in, so a nice size for this power bank. You've got a beautiful, sleek, and portable design. Plus, what I love here is you get a little peek inside at the magic happening here. There are also just some nice, like, quality of life things you guys are gonna like with this. For example, you've got USB-C on one side and the other has a built-in braided USB-C cable, so you're never gonna have to worry about not having a cable with you if you want wired fast charging speeds, for example. You've also got this really nice fully adjustable kickstand on the back that not only is super well made and sturdy, you can fully articulate this thing to get the exact angle that you want. And of course, you've got that really cool peek inside with that little micro fan going at 10,000 RPM. You can check it out at the link down below. And by the way, because this thing is brand new, there is a special early bird discount. So if you're looking for maybe a gift for somebody in your life, or maybe you're like me, a little selfish and just want to upgrade your own iPhone experience, definitely check out the Ice Mag 3. Get those super fast wireless and wired charging speeds with this thing at the link right down below in the description. But I should also tell you about some other rumors we're hearing that actually make a whole lot of sense and might just be exactly kind of the winning formula that Apple needs to adopt. There are some new rumors now saying that while the iPhone Air version 2, yes, is placed on this indefinite hold, they are going to basically move this phone to production, but at a later date, releasing in the spring of 2027, which this might actually be the best plan that Apple should have kind of adopted years ago. Because instead of trying to launch all of their new phones in the fall when trying to compete with Google and Samsung and everybody else who's trying to compete with Apple and releasing stuff in the fall, what if Apple just did a split launch where instead of just launching a budget phone as kind of a one-off, they reserve the spring for the base phone, the budget tier phone, and the Air, or like their experimental kind of phone that is a lower tier offering. And that was kind of what the spring was, where they could kind of dominate the headlines and they could give those phones more love and praise, and then reserve the fall for their Pro phones, especially if the lineup is being built out as the rumors suggest it would be, reserving the spring for like the base iPhone 18 and the 17e and the Air version 2, kind of a 3-phone announcement, would make sense, which would reserve the fall just for the Pro phones and the Fold. Doing this kind of split launch maybe kind of gives Apple the best of both worlds, giving them time to capture two large moments in the news cycle and also make it so their base phones are competing directly with their Pro phones and the Air competing with the Pro phones and vice versa. Maybe this is just kind of the winning solution. And I'm curious, what do you guys think about this? Do you think the answer to this iPhone 18 problem is to just cancel a phone and bring the number of phones total down? Do you think the solution is splitting the events and giving the Air and the other phones in the spring and the Pro phones in the fall? Is that the better solution? Please drop a comment down below. Let me know. Appreciate you guys watching as always. Thank you so much for your support. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see ya in the next one.